Hey Michael, how you doing? Andy, what's the video and audio quality like for you guys? So I'm just trying to work out if this kind of basic setup I have is going to be any good for trying to stream kind of in the future. So I'm just using a 1080p webcam right now and just encoding locally on the Mac in real time as opposed to having a specific device. So I'm not sure if it's going to work properly or not. So I tried to do some testing earlier and the resolution wasn't very good, but I'm hoping this time it works a bit better. So I figured I'd do this for a while and then see if I need to buy hardware to make it significantly better or not. So I still would like to get some proper streaming stuff at some point to try it out and mess with, but I figured this would be a cheap way to start testing something. Let's check my bandwidth usage. Let's pause this. There we go. Yeah, I noticed that for some reason I'm suddenly using a lot of bandwidth on my network, so I'm hoping if I turn some of those things off, it will work a bit better. I think my wife is watching Netflix in the house, so it will impact it a little bit. Right, let's see. I think that's working a bit better now. It still says my bandwidth is 100% utilized. What resolution are you guys able to see it in? Is it down to 480 or are you getting 720? I don't think it's doing it in 1080. I'll open this whilst wait for a bit. So I got this November or something last year, just didn't have time to do anything with it. So see, as I'm going to sit here and test this streaming stuff out for a bit, I thought I might as well see if I can start building this. Never too old for Lego. So you can check what resolution it is. Obviously in the YouTube window you've got the little cog. If you kind of click on it, it will tell you kind of what resolution it's defaulted to. So that'd be a combination of the ability for me to stream a certain quality, and obviously then the internet connection that you have as to kind of how well you can view it. So normally with the non-streamed videos I upload in 4K, and obviously depending on your internet connection it's going to be 4K or 1080p or 720p or something. So Mystery Garden, I recognise your usernames. I think you must have asked questions on some of the other videos before. I don't know if you both subscribe or you just kind of came across the fact that this was live streaming right now. Hey Dave. Just trying out, see if this works as a live streaming setup. I'm just using a 1080p webcam. I'm not sure how well it's working or if I've got enough bandwidth, but thought I'd do this whilst I'm testing it. Okay, so 480p. I'll probably do better than that. So it probably looks alright on a phone, but a bit crap on computer. Haven't dropped any pieces yet, still in the bag. Right. I think my wife is using all the bandwidth. I think this is the problem. Oh, so now it says I'm only using 10% of my internet capacity. So I still think it might be a combination of, obviously the webcam probably isn't that great unless you're trying to do it as full screen, and then obviously I'm trying to do everything from my Mac, so I haven't got any dedicated kind of hardware encoder to make it work, but they're at £150, so I'm thinking about maybe getting one, but I thought I'd try it on the cheap first and see kind of how well it works. It looks a little bit better on my test screen than it did when I tried it earlier, so I think the resolution is a little bit better than it was. So if the frame rate's low, does that mean it's kind of all jerky, or is it pixelated, or a bit of both? Like CCTV. I've got HD CCTV cameras, so obviously it's clearly not that good. Hey Andy, just testing out, see if my setup works for live streaming or if I need to invest in some better stuff. I'll get into it. Nice picture. Cheers, Ed. I think, Ed, you were hoping that was going to pop up on the screen, weren't you? Right. So I think there's a certain amount of buffer, because I can obviously see a delayed image on my screen. No boobs, penises. Don't know if any of you guys are interested in some of this Lego stuff. So this is the James Bond Aston Martin one. So it's quite a massive instruction manual with a bit of history in different languages. It's kind of cool. I guess it probably isn't showing up too well on the stream because of how the quality of being only 480p. But right. I can't share these pictures with you, but thanks for the boob pictures, Ed. You should start your own live stream and you can show people your boobs. Yeah, the Bugatti Veyron one looks really cool. They made a proper full-size one, didn't they? That actually drove, I think. I remember seeing some videos about that at some point. Right. So how can you have 3 bags that all say 1 on them? This is going to end up being messy. I've still got the NASA Apollo Saturn V rocket to make as well, but that's a massive one. But it kind of deconstructs down into like 3 different size pieces, and so I'm hoping to put that into this part of the cabinet. And I'm not quite sure where the Aston's going to go now, because originally it was going to go in that slot, but I got the Lego Flintstones set for my birthday, which has now gone in there. So I'll have to have another shuffle around, see where it's going to put. So the plan with the live stream in the future is I did a poll if people are interested in doing like Q&A kind of stuff, either just about the channel or solar and different things. So that's why I wanted to test this out and see if it's something that's going to work or not. And obviously then you'd probably want to kind of schedule the live stream for a certain day and time. So if you want to obviously try and get some good interactions. It's just a weird kind of, I feel like I'm talking to myself, which I know I'm doing when I'm recording the videos, but I feel like I have more of a purpose as opposed to just feeling like I need to talk whilst I'm bagging Lego. That's probably not that interesting to watch. But I know there's only a few people here, but is there anything we want to discuss or talk about. Right, let's do this. Never too old for Lego, I don't care what people tell you. That's actually the best thing about having kids, because then you can buy Lego and pretend it's for them, but really, it's for you. Yeah, no, I saw that. So there was a CNBC interview, and he did a really good podcast. I think it was last week with Joe Rogan. So the electrified garage is obviously the garage that Rich Rebuilds guy is planning to open up in the US. So if you haven't seen his videos, he's an American guy who bought a salvaged Tesla Model S that had been kind of underwater for, I can't remember how long it was, and he's basically stripped it all apart and then bought another Tesla Model S and kind of salvaged kind of two Tesla Model S's together to make one. And I think the total cost, I think he said that he bought the first one for $15,000, I think it was, and then the second one I think he paid $20,000 for, and so he got the two and made one out of it. And he's caused, I think, quite a lot of angst in the Tesla camps, because obviously he's made it quite clear that Tesla don't like anyone other than Tesla working on their cars and trying to repair them and everything. But yeah, it's pretty good. So it's really cool that he's opened up his own garage so that he can kind of service and repair and rebuild Teslas, I guess, in his local community. Or I think in the US people like to travel, or are happier to travel a really long way, so maybe they will drive all the way to where he lives. I can't remember if is it Colorado he lives in, or can't quite remember. I've got a video coming out in a couple of weeks, I think it is, from I had my Tesla go in for some warranty work. Had to wait for 2 months to get a space, but the experience in general was pretty good. Cheers, Michael. Yeah, catch you next time. Feel free to obviously ask questions in any of the comments, or catch us next time. We'll try and do a live stream so it works. Let's have a little look. Oh, the 1933 Ford Coupe. Is that like the hot rod one? If they don't, I don't know if you're familiar with the Lego Ideas. How it works is all the Lego Ideas sets in general. I don't know if this Aston Martin one was one of them, but they are created by other people's submissions. So you can go to the Lego Ideas website and submit kind of ideas for a Lego model you would like. And obviously there's lots of, I guess, skilled Lego builders that make kind of this stuff out of loads of different Lego parts, basically, from different Lego sets. So maybe they might build one if enough people are interested in one. You have to post on the Lego Ideas website and try and rally people to it. I've got one bit done. Right. So I'm quite looking forward to this set being finished, because it's got ejector seats and pop-out machine guns and all sorts of things, I believe. Right, so we need more bits. Oh, I nearly did lose some bits then. I've not seen the Goon Squad. One of the channels I do watch from time to time is B is for Build. I'm not sure if you've seen that one. The main reason I watched the B is for Build channel originally is because the guy had a Lotus Evora and he rebuilt that with a I think it was a GT body kit on it, and it looked pretty good. It's a bit like, I mean, he can build stuff pretty better than I can with the cars, but some of the ways he finishes some of the jobs is a little bit ghetto sometimes, but it seems to do the job. I think in general he's not rebuilding the cars to sell them, is he? He's keeping them himself. And I know right now he's just got a Lamborghini. I think I've only seen one of the videos. It's like a green one. I'm not sure if it was a Huracan, but he was kind of building his own spray booth in the garage, but it apparently didn't seem to go so well, so he was going to get someone professional to do it. It was kind of where I kind of lost track of it when I had time to watch it. You have to put a link, Dave, if you're interested with your Instagram page, so people can follow some of your building. So there are 10,262 parts to this build. So I won't be sitting here the whole night doing it, I don't think, probably. I mean, you guys are probably bored already, but I've been putting off building this for ages, not had the time. And so I figured, well, seeing as I'm going to test how the streaming stuff works, I'd leave the stream running for an hour or so I can just see if both the machine doesn't overheat or something doesn't break, so I know kind of how well it's going to work when I want to do it properly. Right, see where we're at now. What part is this from? Getting ahead of myself here, I think. So that goes in there. Oh no! There we are. Not quite sure what part it is I'm building here. That's it so far. A lot of time for not a lot of stuff. Right, let's see. Held for review. Show your Instagram page. How are the panels and the power wall doing? So solar panels continue to work really well. It's been a really kind of weird day today in terms of, so it started off quite well. So I guess let me kind of back up with today's experience. So I've got this problem that I'm not quite sure if it really is a problem. In some ways it's working as it's supposed to. If I charge up my Tesla like I did last night. So I've done quite a lot of miles recently. So I was down to only 60 miles of range left in the battery, and I need more than that for the week. So as I mentioned before on the channel, I've got the Octopus Go tariff. So that's in between 12:30 and 4:30 in the morning when you get the much cheaper electricity. So I plug it in to charge during that time. And so the Zappi charger I use should be able to pull at 7 kilowatts, and it does. But then what's happened the last couple of times that I do that, which I don't do very often because thankfully most of the time the solar provides what I need, it kind of pulls the 7 kilowatts from the grid for about 2 and a bit hours, and then it pulls only about 3.5 to 4 kilowatts from the grid, and then the Powerwall makes up the deficit. And this is the problem I have with the Powerwall in terms of, I think it works really well, and in generally it is really smart, but I feel like I don't want it to pull from the grid. I mean, I want it to pull from the grid, not from the battery. So what the Powerwall obviously did this morning was decide, hey, I've still got loads of energy stored here. You're pulling this mass from the grid. My job here is to save you money because you're running it in cost-saving mode. And so then it decided, to lessen what I'm pulling from the grid and then make up the difference from the Powerwall. So then at 4:30, obviously the charging completely stopped. So it stopped pulling from the grid, stopped pulling from the Powerwall, and then I got up about 5:45 this morning, and I had about 15% in the battery. So I still have plenty left. So it is doing its job of kind of running my house pretty much and trying to keep me off grid. But also if I'm trying to charge the Tesla up big time, then I'm going to have to pull from the grid because there's not enough surplus solar. But I just kind of wish sometimes I had a bit more control so I could tell it what I want it to do as opposed to it just being completely intelligent and making its own mind up. So, but apart from that, it's working really well. So I've had the system now, where is it? September, October, November, December, January, February, March, May. Yes, it's about nearly 8 months. And I think I've generated nearly 4.5 megawatt hours, I think, altogether. But these are really getting into the first months where it's really kind of doing amazing generation. So I'm still really happy with it. The only thing that I'm kind of not happy with is some of the Zappi and the Eddy, how it does some weird crap. And I think my energy, really they're the only, especially for the Zappi, they're really the only product on the market, so they haven't got much competition, but it's a bit flaky. I think they put a bit too much effort into kind of generating sales and media stuff as opposed to customer service stuff. So, but yeah, in general, really happy with it. I'm glad I did it. I should have done it a while ago, I think. It's interesting for what's going to happen now, because whilst I was trying to get both my panels installed as well as then more recently the Zappi, because obviously the feed-in tariff came to an end recently, all the people that do solar tend to be the people that do the car chargers, and they've been swamped with people trying to get last-minute orders in before the feed-in tariff ended. Now, obviously, that ended at the 31st of March, so there is no feed-in tariff. And right now, the government hasn't made a specific decision on what's going to happen with that. So I've done a video recently on the standard export, what's it called? The SEG, whatever it stands for, I can't remember. But someone did make a note in the comments that apparently Octopus Energy are already doing an export tariff. So I guess if you have just got solar now, that might be something that is worth people looking into. And I'm assuming that Octopus would come and fit an export meter, and then they would, pay you whatever the rate is. I couldn't see anything about what the rate was that they're offering, so I'm not sure if it's any good or not. Where's the bits? Looks the same. I might end up doing an all-nighter. We'll see how I get on. I'm going to have to pop that cider open at some point. Where's that long red bit? Oh, it's over there. So, Mystery Gardener, have you got a solar setup, or you're thinking about getting something, or perhaps you just don't have a battery or something? Yeah, I think that's right with the seg thing. It's going to be up to the energy company to set the pricing. I'm not really sure, I guess, how fair people will think that is. I guess the optimist in me says anything is better than nothing, right? Because if you've got solar right now and you miss the fit, anything you do export, you're not getting anything for. And I guess, as we know, lots of people, if you're interested in getting a Tesla Powerwall, you have to wait a really long time to get one right now. So you're going to be exporting for a while until kind of that becomes available. So, Mystery Garden, have you got a battery or just solar? I'm missing the shaft. Where is the shaft? There it is. Two kilowatt system. Ah, yes, I think you mentioned that Moxia battery. I did have a look at that. It's pretty smart. So are you finding that? I mean, how much surplus do you tend to get with a 2 kilowatt system on a daily, like on a good day? So like today, do you know, for example, well, today wasn't really a good day, but in comparison, how much you end up being able to put into that battery? Right, so apparently this goes into this somehow. Put it together wrong. No. Put the wrong end in the hole. Much unfortunate. Right. Try again. Right, so that goes in there. Right, that's some ejector seat thing or something there. Looks like it's, don't know, connected to the gear stick, I reckon. So I reckon that must open license plate at the back or something. Okay, that's actually pretty good. And did you get a 2 kilowatt system because that's kind of what you were limited to back when you had it installed, or that's kind of what you could afford at the time? Because I know obviously the prices have changed a fair bit over the years. Where's the music stopped? What am I looking for? I'm quite interested in some method of getting away from gas, but I think it's probably going to cost too much money. So I did look at some ground source heat pump systems, but I think you need to either have quite a large garden or they dig down really deep. And I have no idea how much these things cost actually, because I kind of convinced myself already that it was probably too much money to probably even think about. But obviously the other option is an air source heat pump, and that might be something that's a bit more viable, but from looking online you have these massive tanks and stuff everywhere. I'm not quite sure where I'd put that stuff. Okay. Small roof. Yeah, that makes sense. So we got here. So 180 watt panels, I guess. And so 2011 was the fit rate must have still been quite good back then, right? Because it wasn't too long after kind of it started out. Oh wow, that's not a lot of electricity per day. Oh, from the grid. Okay, yeah. So my system's similar actually. And this is something that I remember being a bit frustrated with when I first got solar. How even though got this big solar array that's generating loads of electricity, still always pull some from the grid. So I think some of it is balancing. And I think the other thing that I'm again making some assumptions. Obviously, the power wall and the inverter and these other things require some energy to operate. And so my assumption is that they're using grid power versus the solar power to operate. So maybe the inverter is utilizing a certain amount of watts per day. Not quite sure though. When I try and speak to solar guys about getting some information on some of this stuff, they're not really very forthcoming. Hey Rob, cheers for joining us. So I would like to go to Fully Charged Live. I haven't bought a ticket though because I've got some family stuff that's kind of making it difficult to be able to commit to travelling right now. So I don't think I'm going right now unless something kind of last minute happens. But yeah, I don't know. I know there was a discussion about Fully Charged Live on the Tesla Owners Club, because I think last year they used people's Teslas, or people volunteered their Tesla, I should say, to do taxi driving from the car park up to the main entrance. So that's another, potential option if kind of something happens late. But right now, I don't think I'm going to be able to go, which is a bit of a shame. So I would like to go and check that out. Are you going, Andy? How about anyone else? Anyone else going to Fully Charged show? I thought one thing that was interesting when I looked at their stats from last year, I'm sure it's something low, like only 30% of the people that went were EV owners. I thought it would have been higher than that based on the people that would be interested in the show. But I guess with kind of Robert's background, it attracts quite a wide variety of people to his channel. There's my fridge kicking in, so you can hear it. It's weird with Legos. I do enjoy making it, and then sometimes I'm like, I feel like it doesn't progress as quickly as I would like. Maybe it's because I'm multitasking, so it's a little bit slower. Where is that bit? Yeah, I'll definitely mention it if I end up going. I'll put a message out. See you, Mr. Gardner. Have a good evening. You say about the cost of EVs. So tomorrow, Volkswagen will be announcing their, I can't remember what they're officially going to, or the rumour is they're going to call it, their Volkswagen ID3, which is their kind of Golf-sized vehicle. So it's the first electric vehicle on Volkswagen's new battery platform. And so I think pre-orders open up tomorrow. So I think the rumour was that the base spec one of those was going to be 20, was it 26? Or was it less than that? £26,000 before government discount. So about 23, 24 grand is what they would be after the government grant. So interested to see what it is tomorrow, actually. Yeah, Model S is really good. Have you looked at a Model 3? I know obviously it's only been available in the UK for a few days to look at, but I was really impressed actually by that car because some of my friends in the US had said that they didn't think the build quality was very good. But the Model 3, but I think it's a bit like the Model S. The Model S build quality started off being pretty poor, and then obviously over time they significantly improved it. And it's probably the same with the Model 3. Some of the kind of earlier Model 3s perhaps didn't have as good build quality, so perhaps there is some slight advantage for us being in the UK and having to wait forever for these things to come along. It means that we get a slightly better built vehicle. Sure, I'm not really paying attention when I'm putting these parts in. I'm putting them in the wrong place. Do you mean the e-tron that's like the coupe one? Looks a bit like a Audi A5 as opposed to the kind of what do they call the new e-tron? Just e-tron, isn't it? So this is you, Ed. You've aged poorly. Alfred is my good butler. I'm probably going to lose my drink now if I do this. I think a lot of the car companies are still struggling with battery supply, so that's one of the advantages Tesla has with obviously making their own batteries. How do we do this then? we go. So what, do you know what the issues were? I don't remember. I do remember hearing something about battery supply problems. Or was there some other issue? Let me one to the other side. What time is it now? Oh, it's 9:45 already. Bits. Where's the bits? Okay. Right, I'm going to put some other music back on and open up that side now. If I don't knock over all the Toledo on the side. Ah. Just trying to find music that isn't restricted on YouTube. Henry Wester's vintage cider, the best cider there is. Yeah, so it is battery production then that's causing the problem. I think one thing that's quite interesting is people obviously compare each of the different cars to each other, and there were some discussions I saw today about the Model 3, and for some reason comparing it to the I-Pace. Not 100% sure why, but what's interesting with the I-Pace is if you want to buy one of those, there's quite a lot of them available on the kind of second-hand market already, like ex-demonstrators and stuff. So if you want to get an EV, those are definitely ones that people can get hold of quite easily. But then that, I guess, begs the question of if it's a really good car or not. Why people haven't been snapping them up? I did test drive one, and it was a good car. There's a few things I didn't like about it though. Obviously that's why I got the Model S in the end. But they are available. Just people don't seem to be flocking to buy them. Yeah, no, I saw Endgame on the launch night. I think it's funny because in Avengers in general they do. I think like was it? I'm trying to think what Iron Man movie it was now. But I think there was an all-electric R8, wasn't there, in one of the movies? There's only a few of them that they made. It makes you laugh that they kind of try and be all progressive and in the future, and then, like you say, they put this engine noise over the Audi. That's actually one of the things I didn't like about the I-Pace. They had this kind of fake engine noise on it, which I guess it's because they're trying to appeal to people that obviously don't really want electric vehicles, so they still want the sound and everything. And I admit I really like the sound of a nice engine, but I don't really think you want a fake kind of overlay or something. It just seemed a bit rubbish, really. But yeah, I did think that was funny when he came tearing up. try and keep Avengers Endgame spoilers to a minimum. I did enjoy that movie though. This is some interesting music that's playing there. Night Rob, thanks for helping check to see if this stream's working or not. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think I'm not sure if my BMW 428 had it. I know some of the 4 Series also have that fake. Is it? Yeah, it's a fake engine noise, isn't it? It's coming through the speakers. But yeah, I don't know. I guess people demand it or something. This is a strange playlist. But I got a message on the test stream I did earlier from YouTube saying I was violating copyright because I had Spotify playing. Oh, that's good. So now on my screen, the stream has gone less clear. I don't know if you guys have noticed that the quality has gone down or not since starting. So I think when I try one next time, I think I will change to a different internet connection that I've got to see if it. Oh, okay, about the same. Strange. I have to do some more research on that. Right, what we've got going on now. So this is the current progress of this vehicle. So it's 55 minutes and that's all I've got done. Slacking. So live streaming is weird because I have no agenda obviously with this video other than just testing to see how well it works, but it feels more strange. More strange? That's not even proper English, is it? But yeah, it feels very different to recording a video that I'm then going to edit and upload later. Right, what we got going on here? A white bit and a black bit. I'm not checking that, Ed. Maybe I can check it just in my ear. The Echo is not playing tonight. So I get my music for any of the videos I use from a place called Epidemic Sound. So it's licensed stuff. So I just selected basically a random playlist to play in the background, and it's an odd one, not what I would choose for my music. It's a little bit relaxing. Right. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Don't know if you guys watch the Tesla Bjorn live streams where he does his road trips and has basically just a live stream of his journey. It seemed to be quite popular. He's not very responsive on social media though, to try and find out about some of the setup that he's using. So he seems to use some really good suction camera mounts in the car that I'm trying to find out what ones he used. Shit. Yeah, I like his channels a lot. And I mean, I know it, like, Twitter's like his full-time job now, but he pumps out so many videos. It's mega awesome. Bollocks, I missed out a bit. But yeah, if you've seen his videos, I don't know if you guys pay much attention to it, but he's got those really good suction mount camera mounts with like a really good elbow on to be able to kind of move them, and they are pressure suction pads. So I've got some of the GoPro ones, and they say they're supposed to be able to stay on a car at really high speed. I've only ever tried them on the outside of the car once, and it fell off just down my street. So I didn't really want to use those again. I didn't really realise I'd lost it till I came back, but luckily some woman had picked it up, and she was literally just at the end of my road when I kind of came back, and she's like, "Have you lost this?" So for my videos, I've got a Sony A6500, which is the main camera that I use for videos when I'm sat here. I'm trying to think what lens. I think it's, I can't remember. It's a Sigma lens. I'll just check. I can get up and look. There's no need for me to try and remember it. Just knock the side over. So it's a Sigma. I think it's a 19mm. See what I can get it off of here. Whereabouts can you see them? I don't know if this is showing up. So this is the A6500 that I use with this Sigma lens on. It works really good. It's got a really low F setting, so it's good in the dark. And then if I'm kind of out in the car and stuff, or out and about, then I use this here. So it's a Sony RX100 version 5. So obviously both of these shoot in 4K, which is why I prefer these. The A6500 does overheat a little bit when you've been recording for quite a while, and this one, I think it stops recording after 4 or 6 minutes or something, which I didn't realise at the time, so I have to be a bit kind of better with my video shooting. And then in addition to that, I've got a few different kind of GoPros. So GoPro Hero Session, the small little cube ones, as well as GoPro Hero 4. No, GoPro Hero 3 black, a GoPro Hero 4 silver, and I ordered one of the GoPro Hero 7s with the stabilized kind of lens, hyper view or whatever they call it, which just been delivered. So I need to I'm going to do a video on that and try that out. Should be quite good. Night, Ed. Yeah, they're large. They're not super large. It looks. How big I say it is? It's probably they're like that big, the size of the suction now, which I don't think is really big, but it's more that it's the pressure, so you can dial in the pressure to make sure it's not going to fall off, and you've got the really good angle on it, so you can position it wherever you want. Because one of the problems I've found when I've done some of the in-car videos, I don't really have a knuckle or anything that works really well on the GoPros. That's got a bit of vibration dampening in. So just interested to see kind of what he's using, but I think they're probably quite expensive. But I'm really happy with the cameras I'm using so far. I think in general they seem to give it a good quality kind of finish. What I like best about that Sigma lens is I used to I've still got them somewhere in the cave, trying to think where they are, but the really big pop-up lights. So I used to set all those up and have 2 lights either side and a light above to really do kind of really good lighting, but it was just taking up a lot of room, and because I don't have the setup all the time, so I have to keep on taking it down. So having that newer lens that works a lot better in low light means I don't have to do as much. So I still have a small LED lamp which is powered by about I think 6 or 8 AA batteries. That tends to do a good enough job of kind of lighting things up. A couple of times I do get a bit lazy. I don't do that, so the videos are a bit darker when I do it over near my monitors. But yeah, I'm happy with the camera so far. There's probably more I could do to try and make the picture look a bit better, I guess. But like all things, just trying to find the time to mess with it. I end up disappearing down a bit of a bunny rabbit hole and looking at all sorts of stuff online, and then procrastinate and don't do any of the things in the end, which isn't good. That's really kind of why I do sharing some of the videos, because I'm sure there's other people that are as interested in some of the things that I'm researching as I am. So I figure if you do the research and then share it, it saves someone else wasting however many hours, days and weeks of their life trying to find exactly the same piece of information that I was looking for. That's my theory anyway. Right, that goes in there. Right, I'm going to need one of those. I'm really not sure about this music. Sounds like a Renault advert on the TV. Not sure if this camera can really pick up the dog snoring. Not snoring too much tonight. This is one of those Lego builds that I can't really might work out what bits these are going to turn into when it's finished. Where is that little bit? Okay, got ahead of myself there and in the wrong place. There we are, in slow progress. Right, where is the other bit? Yeah, I still think the Hero 3 Black is really good. I've got a it's actually a Team Black Sheep. I think it's an ND filter on there that I use when I'm using my Team Black Sheep Discovery drone. It gives really good images. The only reason I changed from that, I still use it on my. I actually just used it a couple of weekends ago. I moved to the Little Hero sessions because I wanted one for my racing drone, and then I got another one because I think I ran over it on my skateboard, and it still did work properly. But I got another one that was reconditioned from GoPro, which I put on that TBS Caprahania wing that I've been trying to fly for ages, and then I got the GoPro 4 Silver because I wanted something that could film better in 4K. And I got that. That was refurbished from the GoPro store as well. And then the reason I recently got that GoPro Hero 7 was because they had an offer on at GoPro that was a bit of discount and included a 3 SD card. And I want to try and do more videos where I'm in the cars and stuff, so I want something that has a bit of image stabilization in, because as I mentioned with the Bjorn videos, I'm pretty sure he's able. I think he uses a camcorder most of the time, but if I had one of those bigger suction mounts, I could mount the DSLR on it and still be able to do good quality videos. So I'm still trying to work out what I want to do and how I'm going to do it, and even what the best type of videos to be doing is really. I mean, the main thing for me is I want to do videos that I enjoy making, and in general, I do. This is where we are so far. So I think this is obviously the bottom platform for the car. This is obviously the gear stick, and then I assume that must be the exhaust tips. So I guess they might be front wheel hubs, and then don't know what's going on back here. Right, so we now now to these. The stream looks like it's got a bit better on my screen again, so I'm not sure if it just kind of went down a little bit. But I can look back at it later, see if it's what the quality's like. So what kind of motorbike have you got, Andy? I'm not really a motorbike guy, more into cars, but I did for a little while want to get a Harley Davidson 48, just because I thought the thing sounded absolutely amazing, but my wife wasn't really a fan of me getting a motorbike. So that's one of those things that I should have got a motorbike license before I got married. So I'm going to have to Google that, because again, not knowing what the bikes are. Oh, nice. Cool. It's probably a stupid question, but that's the kind of bike that I think looks a bit like the Harleys in my head. I didn't know Kawasaki made a bike like that. So, what do you wear a full head helmet, or kind of like what I call the stereotypical just, I don't know technical terms for it, but just like a non-facial helmet? I've had that with my Lotus, where people either call it a Ferrari, or there's kids that live down the road from me, and they call me the Lamborghini man, because I guess they think it's a Lamborghini for some reason. In some ways, I guess it's a compliment, but it's a shame that they don't really know what it is. I'm still waiting. I haven't mentioned it on the channel. Oh, not the Easter, just not the bank holiday we just had, but the Easter bank holiday. My Lotus went bang. So driving along, and then there was a really loud squealing noise, and then lots of smoke came out the back, out of the engine bay, and it stopped. And it's been with Lotus 3 weeks. 3 weeks today, so it just came out of warranty as well. So I'm waiting to see if I can afford to repair it, depending on how much they say it's going to cost. So I keep on thinking I'm going to chase them up and find out, if they've made a decision yet. But at the same time, I'm putting it off because I know it's not going to be a good story. I don't think. I do hear from them. Yes, I had some similar languages when it happened. So I originally thought that when the noise first happened, it sounded I'm trying to think when it was now. Years and years ago, I had a car where a stone got trapped between like the brake hub and the heat shield. It made a really horrible kind of squealing noise. And I originally thought it was that, and I thought, oh, it's okay. The stone will fall out or something. And then literally a second after that, horrible smell, and then smoke comes out the back of the engine bay, and then all power just went and it stopped, and I was like, oh, okay, it's not just a stone then. Not turbocharged, it's supercharged. So what they have told me so far, the problem is the air conditioning compressor has seized in there, which caused the initial problem. But I think it's quite common on lots of modern cars. So I don't know what you probably call it. I would used to call it a timing belt. It's not really a timing belt anymore, but there's a single belt in the Lotus Evora that connects to everything. So it goes around the supercharger, around the water pump, around the air conditioning compressor, and anything else that's in there. So obviously when that locked and seized up, it affected all of the other things it was connected to, which is why it caused such a commotion. So yeah, in terms of fixing it yourself, I'm not against fixing it myself. So with my previous Lotus, before I had kids, I used to do all the work myself on that. I took the front off my Elise and redid some of the fiberglass and stuff. Just struggling to try and have the time to do that kind of thing anymore. So yep, shark evolve. I'm not sure exactly what it drives. To be honest with you, I've been kind of ignoring it until I find out. Okay, cool. So yeah, a full helmet that you're using. Nice. So all I've done so far is I've looked online. So the air conditioning compressor is around £2,500 from Lotus, and I think a new belt. I can't remember how much a new belt was now. But again, like I said, just sticking my head in the sand a little bit and just kind of pretending it's not happening until I find out exactly what's going to happen. So the frustrating bit is I hadn't driven the car since it was serviced in December. So I drove it back from the dealers, which is about 80 miles. And then this was the first trip out I'd done it. I was just going to Screwfix to get some electrical trunking for some lights I was installing, and then this happened. So yeah, just really bad timing really. If I'd just driven it a bit more since it was serviced, it probably would have happened before the warranty ran out. But so I'm kind of hoping for a goodwill gesture, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I've seen a couple of people on the forums actually who'd had similar problems. They hadn't had it seized, so their car could still drive. But yeah, people said about getting it refurbished, and some of the companies apparently that do the refurbishment also give a warranty on it as well. So again, I'm going to see what kind of happens once Lotus say, give me full details of what the damage is really, and then I can stop guessing and just, make informed decisions about it. But it's definitely a pain in the nuts, that's for sure. Well, I don't think I'll be finishing this tonight. That's an hour and a half on one bag. I guess it is a big build. Oh dear. But now my brain's going through that whole thought process of, obviously I will get it fixed at some point. That is obviously probably a certainty. And then my thought process is, am I going to keep it or should I then sell it? But I think I probably wouldn't want to sell it. I'd just shell out a load of money or time to repair it, but then I guess it'll always be in the back of my head, what if something else is about to go. But this was going to happen anyway, I guess, if not a lot I could do about it, but just frustrating. Just sod's law that it happens just as the warranties run out there. Yeah, I read about that on the RAV4. So I think the cheapest I've seen is a reconditioned one that is about £500 from the US or something. But yeah, I will do more research once I get a definitive bit of information. Because when I spoke to them last time, they said that some other things had been damaged as well, and they were going to come back to me. So yeah, then I'll have to get it loaded back to my house again if I'm not going to get them to fix it. Where's that bit? Two. There we go. That is the thing that makes me laugh about the Lotus, though, how, like you said, Lotus will charge like £2,500 for this part, and then I'm sure Toyota sell exactly the same part brand new for like £1,500 or something, even though it's exactly the same. Music's finished again. Lots of fiddly bits that feels like not much process on this build, and I can't find the bit that I need. Yeah, I bet you have the kind of master of finding bits with the Porsche rebuilds. Did you get any stuff from breakers yards, or just always like a different part from a manufacturer? Why can't I find that bit there? Oh, we're getting down to the dregs now, where I can't find the bloody bit that I need. Ah, there it is. There it is. In there. Oh, you mentioned, yeah, that you'd made your own bracket or something, wasn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Well, this computer it's definitely getting hot because the fan is going, but an hour and 28 minutes of it streaming, it seems to be working. So what did you use for the hoses? Just hoses from a different vehicle or just generic hoses of the same material? Ah, cool. That makes sense. Look, we have our first moving part. So if you turn the... That doesn't work, does it? So you turn the exhaust pipe, and this bit is moving and doing something, maybe. Oh. £100 for a 10-inch hose. So is it a hose for a fuel line then, or? I think all car companies have that random price generator, because I've done similar things where you go to buy a part and you expect it to be really expensive, and they're like, oh, I'll just show you what it was now. Yeah, it's on my Lotus. So on mine, it's got kind of chrome, uh, Lotus badge on the back, and on my previous one, I got the black lettering. And now Lotus have done it in a sticker form, so I wasn't sure if I preferred the sticker form or not. And so I wanted the Lotus bit and the Evora bit, and I think like they only wanted. That was it. So I think I asked them. It was like £25 for the Lotus piece, and then it was like £3.25 for the Evora bit, which made no sense. Well, it was surprisingly cheap, I should say, because then the Chrome version again was like £50. I just don't understand kind of what the pricing structure is, other than just any old mug will pay the money. It'd be cheaper to get your own badges made up, probably. I feel like we're coming to the end of this bag now. Feels a bit awkward again now when I'm not quite sure what to talk about. Doo-dee-doo. warm in here though with his lights on. So did you buy a Haynes manual or something for doing all the repair work? Or just stuff from forums and online and whatnot? Where is that grey bit? Ah, cool. Yeah, I was looking at on the Renault forums to get a like a maintenance manual for the Twizy because I want to take that apart and make sure everything is good on it. So I found something. Just haven't had time to have a proper look at it yet. Yeah, so you get the exploded diagrams, yeah. There we go. Do. Can't find the bits I need. Ah, where is it? Why can't I find it? That goes the opposite. You take it out of the bag and you can't find the damn bits. Yeah. Oh, it's under there. Damn you. Right, I need to see if there's another playlist I can put on. Oh. Yeah, the music has stopped. So I just had to find another stream to play. So I think this is related to the ejector seat by the look of it. At least that's what it says, ejector seat in there. So I'm assuming it must be. I assume you can hear the background music again now. Oh, I've got elastic bands on there now. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, that's gonna hurt my fingers if I'm not careful. Hmm. Oh, it says it can hear the music. So if I'm quiet, like I was just saying, you can't hear any music. Hmm. Let me stop this from ejecting itself and see if I can get the music working. So can you hear the music now, or is it probably only too loud now? So in terms of a new VR headset, I like the idea of the HT. No, it's not HTC anymore. It's just a Steam. What's it called? The Vive Insight, or whatever it is. But I'm struggling to get the time to use VR for a while. I've done 2 videos of some VR games that I was sent to review ages ago. So I did a couple of videos of those, which will go up on the channel soon. One of the games are really bad. Just the problem I got right now, first of all, problem is there's too many things I want to have a go at doing or do a video of or talk about, and then just not enough time to do it. And I still feel like VR hasn't become the thing I really wanted it, to be. So I wanted something that was really immersive, and I would want to spend loads of time in, and it would go on and on forever. But really, it hasn't been that. There's some good games, but they just haven't really lasted long enough. Yeah, I don't know. I quite like the idea of some of the standalone ones, but again, I don't think they don't have the full kind of experience that you would get from like the Vive. So yeah, I don't know. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I do. I'm still trying to work out how I can adjust all the different feeds into the streaming tool. That's why the whole idea of obviously doing this is to try and work out what does or doesn't work before trying to do a proper one. Ah, good, that's better. Is it worth me trying to balance it out a little bit more, or is that level okay now? Yep, we only learn by doing, as they say. Was that one of the Elgato little streaming boxes with all the different buttons on, or was it a different thing for the mixer? That's a slightly better playlist, I think, this one. Make a note of this playlist if I like it. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, bum. Ooh. I was looking at it today because there's quite a few things that if I decide to do more streaming that I'd like to buy, and a lot of the stuff is the Elgato stuff that seems to be quite popular with the gaming streamer community. So I've got a green screen that I don't use very often because it's a pop-up one and it takes forever to put it down. So I've got like a pull-up green screen thing and then a little kind of encoder box that obviously then I can feed in one of these Sony cameras. So hopefully I can get good 1080p or 4K footage. So that's what I'm interested in. Since I think you guys say this is okay, but I still think it's a bit crappy. Cheers, Dave. Thanks for watching and helping me test it out. Appreciate it. I will continue to finish some of this before I call it a day, I think. That's the point, actually. I wonder how much energy I've left in the power wall. Not sure if you can see that on the stream. 63% left in my battery. Plenty. Odd track. Was that working? But I do still like the fact that I worry a lot less about the amount of electricity I use actually since getting solar. So I know a few people have mentioned on some of the other videos about if I've looked at trying to kind of reduce my consumption. And the answer is not really. I'm pretty sure when I get to kind of my full year's review, that I bet my consumption's gone up quite a lot actually. Excuse me, because I worry a lot less about how much I'm using now, because I'm not paying for it, which is a great place to be. Oh, where's this spoon? I think it's the ejector seat bit. 76%. Okay, you must. Do you have quite a lot of kind of low consumption gear? Because in general, most of my appliances are quite low. But like right now, I've got obviously this laptop is on. Then I've got there's 7 screens on over there with 1, 2, 3 computers on, plus 2 servers downstairs, and then obviously the fridge and everything. So, I mean, that's a good question actually. So we can both check this, Andy. That would be interesting. So right now, and I think the lights that I use here in the cave when doing this are quite bright. So right now I'm using 700 watts in my house. So normally when I go to bed, it's somewhere about 300 to 400. So yeah, so 700 watts right now. So Andy, you must be putting less than that, I guess. Huh? Oh, and the field is getting really tricky in there now. Quite sure what that's. Wow, That's like insane. So have you just got like super energy efficient appliances, or do you kind of turn? Cause I mean, I don't turn everything off at the wall or anything. So that's incredibly low. And is it? Have you made a conscious effort to try and get it down that much, or is it just that's just how you roll? Slowly taking shape now. So many little fidgety, little finicky parts. I guess because there's so many kind of little contraption-y bits to it. I guess so make it a bit more complicated. Kind of funky music, this one. Only 2 hours of streaming. How the hell is that supposed to fit in there? Like that, Dale. If you read the instructions, it's amazing. You can do things. Or pillock. Two of those. Where is the other bit? I think I find myself automatically jumping ahead and not reading the instructions properly. Because I think I know best. I clearly don't, because there's going to be missing bits at the end of this if I'm not careful. Yeah. I've got most of my... I'm trying to think what uses the most. Do you... That's a question actually. Well, no. Are you using gas or electricity for your cooking? But even with that, I think it's just... Yeah, like you said, you got the computers off and stuff, so I've got mine running 24/7, most of them. So I think I should probably try that one day. I'll turn everything off. Actually, if I have a holiday at some point, then that would be my test of what my real kind of low running usage is like. I'm mega impressed with that. 0.1. Jeez. I need to do better. Hey there, come on. Oh, I messed up and used the wrong bit somewhere. 2, 4, 6, 8, 2. Crap. It's happened. I've got a bit that is too big. Yeah, I think it might be this front bit here. Damn it! Where was that? See, that's what happens when you don't pay attention. You make mistakes. So that's... Those were 4, wasn't it? Ah, no. Ooh. Undercover Philips Hue LEDs. Nice. Yeah, so you've got some cool stuff going on. I think I just must have more stuff running. Ah, no. I'm screwed. Can't get it. Ah. Tits. We've got a problem, Houston. Yeah, same here. Just gas for hot water and heating. And I'd probably like. Have you got an eddy or something to use solar surplus for your heating of the water? That's a 4 and a 4. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I've used the wrong bits. No, so well, I've got more than 7. So over there, powering those 7 screens, I've got 1, I think now, 1, 2, 3. There's four computers there, powering 7 screens, and then I have 2 servers that are always running, plus obviously this laptop, and then there's a computer in the house that the kids use, and then my wife has a computer as well, but they're not on all the time. So basically, when I finish in here this evening, there'll only be 2 left on in here, and then there's 2 servers, and that's when it drops down to about 300 watts. Oh, I can't believe I wasn't paying attention. My balls that up, but I can because I wasn't paying attention. Let's see if I can fix it. Rookie error, not reading the instructions properly. Yes, recovered. Right, now just to make sure I've done this properly. So one of those there. There. I recovered it. Well, with the Eddy, have you already got some? I'm assuming you already have obviously immersion heater as well as the gas. So do you have an immersion element connected into your hot water boiler already? Right, so we're back here. Let's see if we've got one there. Right. Yeah, so you've not thought about, I don't know how electrically inclined you are, but installing the Eddy is really quite simple. So all you got to do is just kind of spur off a little bit from where that immersion heater plug is. Or even if you just got an electrician to do it, I don't think it would cost much. It's like half an hour's work tops. So you could probably even kind of mount the head and everything, like the base unit, and then all they need to do is just wire it in for you. So it's just a bit of 3-core flex, and you can connect the Harvey and everything yourself to save them doing any of that. So it would save you a bit of money maybe. So another functioning bit, so it's doing something. These are monster build. 4 of these. So on there. It amazes me that the guys that, and the girls of course, that make this Lego stuff, it's so... How do you decide that you're going to construct these things in this way? It just blows my mind. I mean, I guess that's why I'm not a Lego master builder or whatever they call it. But nearly finished this pack. Yeah, that's definitely what I'd do, because it is so straightforward, and at least in my experience, like when I had my stuff installed, the electricians and stuff, they don't do many of these anyway, even though they say they've done them before. They don't really know how to set it all up and everything, so I just set it up myself. I say it's pretty easy really. If you read the instructions enough, it all makes relatively common sense, because you're not going to get any aftermarket support from an electrician anyway, so I'd either save some money and do it all myself, or just get an electrician to do the wiring bit, just to, if you want to cover your ass. The only reason I had the solar installer people do it is because they had electricians here already, so I said to them, if you come and install it at the same time, would it be any additional cost? And so I just had to pay for the hardware because the electrician was already on site. Otherwise I would have done it myself, I think. This pack is nearly done. So we're now at the stage where I can't quite understand the instructions are supposed to be telling me. So it says about connecting well, how the hell is that supposed to connect to there? Oh, goes down there. It's another wheel hub. So Andy, have you got any other kind of hobbies or interests outside of the solar stuff? It's royalty-free music. I don't get penalised by YouTube for playing it. So these are the leftover parts from the bag one. So either that means I possibly screwed up, or those are indeed spare parts. I don't know. Me, 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 me. Gotta love Beaker. Yeah, I still got to do that Saturn 5. This is it's taking me about 2 hours to do just this much. There's just so much intricate bits. This is some sort of ejectory something. This is another bit that moves and does something. Another ejectory thing here. This ejects something as well, and I don't know. I'm always wary, especially when there's more. So I get that there's a white bit, a silver bit, a red bit, a yellow bit. That makes sense. But when there's 5 of those, you probably can't see it there on the stream. There's 5 of those bits left, and that worries me because it makes me feel like that's too many of one piece to be spare. That makes me feel like I've screwed up and missed something somewhere, and I won't know until I finished it, so that I'll have to keep those safe somewhere. But I think I'm going to bring the stream to an end, and then I can check it out tomorrow. But that was so far 2 hours and 17 minutes, and we had a few people come and go. I think Andy, you're the longest standing stream watcher, so thank you for keeping me company whilst I tested out the streaming setup and made a start finally on this Aston Martin. It must be sat in the box for 6 months, so yes, I can now decide if this setup is good enough to get going on with, or if I need to look at some dedicated hardware that will kind of do it better with the video. I'm still a bit disappointed that it's not at least 720p, because I was hoping this camera could do that, but it seems like 480p might be its maximum. But the plan is to, in the future, I asked about doing a Q&A video, so we can schedule an event like that and talk about the solar stuff and things that people have been interested in. I know people aren't, I know that like the Lego videos aren't that popular. I just did this because it's something for me to do whilst I leave this running for a good amount of time to see if it breaks or not. So, thank you very much. I am going to end the stream now and get some sleep. But, thank you again, and I will finish this awesome vintage cider and get myself some sleep. Thanks again for watching. Cheers for subscribing, leaving comments, and doing all the amazing things that you do, and helping me enjoy doing stuff on this channel.